Hi, you're watching Maroondah Love Dialogues. I'm Norm Curry. The Love Dialogues are in part supported by a Maroondah City Council grant. What's a love dialogue? A love dialogue is speaking one, the love of self, with the love of other, connected and contributed to by unconditional love insofar as we can manage that. So it's a cycle of love itself. Today we'll be speaking with Reverend Professor Philip Hughes. Thanks for coming in, Philip.
Thank you.
We've done love and we've done hope. How about forgiveness? Now that's a big one.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Forgiveness is certainly part of every relationship. And as we've mentioned several times, every relationship has its challenges, and part of the overcoming of those challenges is forgiveness. There's been occasional times for me, I guess, when I've been hurt by something or other, by other people, what they've said. There was one particular instance many years ago now, but when a group of people felt that I was not doing my job particularly well and wanted me out of that work, and that was challenging. And it raises the issue for me as to how forgiveness comes about, because it's relatively easy if someone comes to you and says, "I've done the wrong thing by you. I'm sorry about that."
Yeah.
And you can then forgive them. That's okay. But when people continue to feel that they've actually done the right thing, even though it's been hurtful, that raises other issues. And this group of people didn't come back to me and say that they recognised that they'd done the wrong thing. Indeed, very much the other way. They continued to feel as they did. And I had to find it within me to recognise that they were acting out of their own integrity.
Yeah.
Even though they thought differently from the way I thought. The ways they were thinking were valid in themselves. They were correct within their own parameters. And thus the forgiveness took a different form.
Yeah.
It took a form of respect for where they were at.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that is the nature of forgiveness.
Yeah.
That is actually, pardon me, forgiveness is actually part of the recognition of the integrity out of which people have come.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful, Philip, because that's actually a classic practice of unconditional lovingness, actually, because you're placing your understanding in the other and removing your pain by doing that and saying, well, I know they are doing their best and okay, it hurt me. However, I'll recognise their integrity rather than give in to my own pain and to reject them. It's very powerful.
Sure. I mean, it can be even more difficult than that. There are other situations that I haven't experienced myself, but I've certainly known of others who have, where the pain is ongoing, where people are hurting each other.
Yeah.
Situations of domestic violence, for example.
Yes.
And how one forgives, and indeed even what form that forgiveness should take can be really difficult within those situations. There's certainly times when forgiveness really can only occur when the other person is willing to take responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
I also see that even at the sort of higher levels within the ways in which countries work and leaders work. Just recently, Boris Johnson, as the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom has said he's really sorry for the 100,000 deaths that have occurred in the United Kingdom there. And thus one has to say, well, do we forgive him? What does that mean? And surely, in fact, it does mean that for him to be worthy of forgiveness, he's got to take on that responsibility for his actions.
Yeah.
And I must admit, my personal thinking is that within that circumstance, it would seem to me that taking on that responsibility would be to say, I failed, and therefore I have to resign and give up that responsibility of trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. That's an extremely strong point, is that the issue of identifying if you're seeking forgiveness, because that's the seeking of forgiveness we're coming from, isn't it? So if you're going to seek forgiveness, then you need to step forward and saying, well, I have done the wrong thing and this is it. And and then it's up to the forgiver to determine what that action would be. And as you point out with Boris Johnson, the action would of necessity be, well, I'm out of here because it was me that did it. It's my act, which has caused that.
So forgiveness ideally is a two-way thing. It occurs when one person seeks forgiveness and the other person is ready to say, okay, I've seen that you're willing to accept the consequences of your actions. I've seen that you're willing to try and do things better another time or in another way, and then I'm willing to forgive.
Yes.
It doesn't always work like that.
No.
And certainly I think unconditional love does mean that we're willing to give people that second chance even when they're not quite ready to take that second step themselves.
Yes, yes.
So it's and that's where forgiveness actually merges with hope, if you like.
Yeah.
That they will see there are new ways, new possibilities, and that life can move forward.
Yeah. Yes, and there's another element to forgiveness as well, is the actual demand for forgiveness can be seated in massive ego, is to simply say, well, I deserve to be able to demand of this person that they say to me, forgive me. If there's someone seeking forgiveness and it's your management of it from your own ego, and you say, no, I won't forgive you, that's doing damage to the unforgiven, but it's doing massive damage to the unforgiver.
Certainly that's true. That's true. So being ready to forgive is perhaps what unconditional love really is.
Yeah.
It's being ready to accept the other person, being ready to seek to understand the other person.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, and that's what, when you say with domestic violence and issues like that, where there's a huge amount of emotional and baggage there, being able to do that, to play that out in that close relationship is very, very difficult indeed, because there's so much hurt, there's so much indignation, there's so much ego and all of that wrapped up in it.
Yes.
It takes a big person to be the first forgiver in that. Who's going to be the forgiver and who's going to be the receiver of that forgiveness, coming back to your point before. So we're actually looking into a pit here, aren't we? Because the management of forgiveness can either mean you fall, both of you, into a hole, or one falls in and the other one is got a rope pulling the other person out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very, very important. Thanks very much, Philip. You're watching Maroondah Love Dialogues, and now we'll have a guided meditation with Francis Cassidy.
So let us begin by finding ourselves in a comfortable seated position, preferably on a chair or on a cushion, and become aware of the movement of breath as it comes in and out your body. We're not trying to control the breath. We're simply being aware of how it feels. And now take a moment to scan your body for any discomforts and make any adjustment you need to relax even further into comfort. And just breathe. The process is about forgiving yourself. It is often easier to forgive others. But what about you? You deserve to forgive yourself too, for the regrets you may have, for mistakes you have made, for disappointments you are experiencing, for every single time you haven't lived up to your own or others' expectations, for not being perfect. So the intention of today's meditation is to give you the inner peace and soul-nourishing love that comes from truly forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself. Where is it hiding? The shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, the regret. Take a moment to locate them in your body. Maybe you feel a tightness in your throat or a heaviness in your stomach or tightness in your shoulders or pain in your head. Wherever they are, these heavy emotions, just identify them. So let's pause. We're taking time to identify the heavy emotions that are unforgiven. So what shape are these emotions? What colour? Just observe. The heaviness you feel is real, but you can choose to let them go. You can choose to let go the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the regret. You can choose to forgive yourself, to accept that you are not perfect, that you are human. And that part of what makes you so special is that you do not live your life perfectly. You make mistakes. We all make mistakes. You can learn from them. We can all learn from our mistakes. So it's now time to evolve, to blossom, to be the person you are meant to be. So let us pause just for a moment or two. So now I would like you to bring your attention back to your breath and back to where your heavy emotions are sitting. And on every exhale, I want you to see these entities dissolve just a little bit more. Breathe in and breathe out, watching these heavy emotions dissolve. Breathe in, breathe out, watch them dissolve until they're all gone, completely vanished from your body. Allow your body to feel lighter. Feel connected to your body, to your breath, to your spirit, to your heart. And now I invite you to take in a deep cleansing breath. And on the exhale, relaxing your body deep and deeper into a space of deep comfort and calm. Take your time here. Breathing in, cleansing. Breathing out, exhaling, relaxing, allowing your body to become heavier and deeper into a space of comfort and calm. And now take your time, repeat a few times at your own pace. May I be given. May I be forgiven. What's most important are not the words, but the felt sense, as much as you can, of letting it go. May I be forgiven. And we're sending this out to the universe. And when you are ready, letting go of the images or thoughts. And just notice how you are feeling. Bring your awareness back to your body, to the breath, and taking a few easy, deep breaths. And now, taking a few more moments to offer gratitude to yourself for taking this time for yourself, for taking care of your own heart, for lightening the burdens the hurts that have accumulated in your life. Remember that this is a practice of letting go and moving in the direction of more peace, happiness, and freedom. Breathing in stillness for as long as you wish. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and slowly return to the present, to this moment, to this place, to resume your day. Thank you for joining us today.
You've been watching Maroondah Love Dialogues. You can follow us on www.jansencentre.org. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.